Welcome to A State of Mind, the podcast that brings together consciousness, meditation, mindfulness, psychology, psychedelics, and so much more in pursuit of this mystery we call life. This is Julian Royce. I want to share with you about kanna. Kanna is an amazing herb from South Africa. The scientific name is Seletium tortuosum, and it's been used for centuries to support mood, emotional openness, and connection. I've been working with a company called Ka Empathogenics here in Boulder, and I have an affiliate link below, so you can order it and support the podcast. And I just want to share a little bit more about it. There's been some amazing scientific studies showing that people taking kanna actually score higher in compassion and empathy and openness, and it's a mood uplifter. It helps you feel better, almost like drinking, a strong cup of dark chocolate cacao might be something similar, but it's different than that. It has its own unique feeling. One cautionary note is it's not recommended if you're taking SSRIs or other drugs that act on your serotogenic system, and you should talk to your healthcare provider. So this isn't, healthcare advice or medical advice, but kanna is legal and it is powerful and potent, and it can be a helpful ally in your path. So if you're interested in exploring it more, check out the link below, and I look forward to seeing you there. Another way you can support this podcast and improve your overall health and wellness is through Shilajit. Shilajit is a traditional mineral-rich resin. It's been used for thousands of years in the Himalayas, and it's really incredible. I have access to really high-quality Shilajit that's been tested and made sure that it doesn't have, any harmful additives, nothing like that. It's from the Ural Mountains of Russia, and you can message me at the link below in the podcast show notes if you're interested. And I'll just share a little bit about Shilajit. It's actually formed from ancient plant matter that's been compressed over centuries. It's very high in fulvic acid and trace minerals. It helps support mitochondrial function, energy production, and nutrient absorption. And a lot of people today are using it for vitality, endurance, cognitive clarity, overall resilience. It can taste a little gnarly, but I like to drink it in the morning with warm water, which is a traditional way to take it. And if you haven't tried it out, try it out. It's definitely been a game changer for me, and I think it's a great way to start off your day. Another way you can support this podcast as well as your health and wellness is to check out the blue light blocking glasses from EMR Tech. There's an affiliate link below in the show notes, and they're making really high quality glasses that I think are also pretty fashionable. There's different glasses for during the day, for during the sunset, or for during the evening. And I think this is, a simple thing that we could all start doing more that can really improve your health. It'll improve your sleep at night if you wear them during the day and at night. There's research showing that blue light suppresses melatonin. It disrupts our circadian rhythm, negatively impacting our sleep quality, our recovery, and our nervous system regulation. And so as more and more of us are spending more time on screens, having things like good blue light blocking glasses that you actually like to wear, I think can be really helpful. So check it out below. Let me know if you have any questions. So I'm here today with Scott Nice. Scott, thanks for being on the podcast.
My pleasure.
And I know you from the scene around here, Denver, Boulder, music, ecstatic dance, all of that. How would you like to introduce yourself to people?
I am a cross-genre electronic music producer and turntablist DJ, coming from that old school scratch vinyl, and integrating that into world-influenced electronic music.
Cool, yeah. So you started DJing back before all the technology was there, like with actual records, turntables?
Yeah, 1997. Just listening to lots of East Coast hip hop, growing up in upstate New York, and just skateboarding and trying to figure out what they were doing with the turntables. Like there was no YouTube, there's no tutorials. And I feel like the electronic techno scene is a lot more inclusive and friendly and sharing trade, craft. But in hip hop, especially on the East Coast, I think the West Coast was different, but in the East Coast, the DJs were all about battling and holding their techniques really closely. Battling is
interesting,
a part of the hip hop culture. Yeah. And so it was like that with turntablism. It's like the kids in Rochester, in the town I grew up, they weren't coming over to like share techniques. It was just your like close circle, and you listen to mixtapes and try to imagine what they were doing with the crossfader and the vinyl. So it was a totally different level of education back then and
Interesting.
trying to figure shit out.
Yeah, the world has changed so much. The music world has changed so much.
Yeah.
In a short amount of time. Now there's so much. You're right. Like YouTube is an incredible resource. I mean, there's so many instructional videos. And
Yeah.
it's gotten easier and easier to be a DJ. There's more and more people DJing.
Yeah.
Which is good, and maybe it also has some cons to it. But back then, like, I can't even. It just seems like a whole new level of skill to have an actual record, and then you're beat matching with another actual record. Do you want to just share anything about that?
Yeah,
I actually don't know much about that process.
The funny thing about that is that's how most people, like, I did not understand DJing at all when I started. I was just attracted to scratching and trying to figure out what they were doing and how they were making all these noises and sounds and what they were doing with their record hand and what they were doing with the crossfader hand. And so it wasn't until actually like a year or two into messing around with turntables that I started to learn about beat matching.
Okay.
You know, again, like the electronics, the techno side, that's kind of where they start and the whole reason they have it.
Right.
But in the hip hop side, there's all these like beat juggling where you're doubling up beats and you're repeating the same part of a record by having 2 copies of them, one on each side.
Oh, cool.
And you kind of juggle between different phrases and then make them say different things. So yeah, so it was a whole different world. But yeah, once I got into more of the beat matching side, especially on vinyl where you don't have the BPM counted, you know, and it's like hard to even like get your start and finish times. Yeah, it was challenging, but then that really brought me into a new level of love for music.
Beautiful.
Because when you get 2 things that blend and become a new third thing, it's like magic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and you're creating something new.
Yeah, you're creating something new. And as a kid, it was very novel.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine that's got to give you a deeper foundational understanding for DJing than someone who's just starting with all the software programs today. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I see today and something that I've been trying to figure out how to vocalize when I'm working with students is more taking the time to learn your craft. Like if you were learning the guitar, how long would you practice before you felt comfortable going on stage? Or like how long would you practice before a band was comfortable having you go on stage with them and perform?
Right.
And I feel like people do a DJ course and 6 months later they're like, you know, playing an ecstatic dance or whatever. And I don't find people are as dedicated to taking the time for mastery.
Right.
And a lot of times it takes, you know, at least a few years of doing something for the passion of it, doing something for like how the craft inspires you and wanting to be better and go deeper and then from there sharing it. So I feel like, you know, modern DJs could do just practice more, you know?
Yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah.
So I grew up playing guitar. My dad's a musician. I got into DJing, I guess it was really the summer of 2022. And then I got, you know, played at a number of like house parties and events and things and a lot of kind of like learning on the fly. And it probably would have served me to spend more time practicing.
Well, feet to the fire is good too.
But a lot of like learning through stuff that comes up. But then I realized like after doing more of that over a couple of years, like I was becoming a kind of expert at just setting up sound systems and all the chords and different like DJ controllers and laptops and this and that. And like I never like intended that, but that's like a whole kind of separate skill set. And you need someone there who can do that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not fun to troutroubleshoot in the middle of like an event. Like, where does this chord go?
You became the sound guy.
A little bit. Yeah. By default. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of people who just love the music and DJ a little, but they buy a sound system and then that's their thing. They love throwing the party. They love having like the big bass box or function one or whatever. And they take pride in that. That's like fulfilling for them. Like, and to create that experience, right? Because then you're like, you're an experience creator from that side, you know, from a fidelity side or from a, you know, production side. Yeah.
And then a whole nother part of that can be the lighting. We were just talking before we started recording about lighting and how subtle it can be, how much goes into that. Have you done much with lighting during your performances?
Yeah, I just did my first ever like headline show here
at the Fox.
At the Fox Theater in Boulder last month, which was like a big moment, you know, like in every probably every musician or DJ's career to sell tickets and bring people in just on your name, not just supporting another bigger act who's already got that brand and those ticket sales. And in doing that, I had so much more, I got to think more about all the things that I just show up and I'm playing someone else's gig, right?
Right.
And so it was really nice to see how much good lighting and even a lit facade makes a really nice difference. Like we had a front die cut facade with super dope like LED color changing lights.
Was
so
that
all
from
those,
Stephen Newman?
Yeah, Stephen Newman, who's just an incredible artist.
He actually
I need to get my own Stephen Newman facade because that all the imagery and just the vibe that it sets, the artistry, right? Like every single element, especially in photography. And so between that and the in-house lights, I was just like so pleased. And then also, what are the lights lighting? Like plants. Like I brought in a bunch of big plants that I bought, and it just really changes it provides an environment to have a certain kind of an experience.
Yeah. So Stephen Newman, shout out to him. He actually designed the logo for the podcast, and he was on the podcast, I think, twice back when I first started it. So
tight. Yeah, he's super dope. I would love to see his workshop. He creates some really intricate geometric wood cuts.
He has a big laser machine, art. Yeah. That's beautiful. So it sounds like that show is a success. I wish I had been there for it.
Yeah, I think that's a direction, the whole integrating like my artistic visual arts background. It's just a process. Like when you're playing support for another artist, they don't care about your visuals, and you're not spending a lot of time working on that end because you're supporting another artist basically. But the more that I get to play my own shows, the more that I get to focus my energy on creating visuals and animations and using my visual art to create a more full-fledged experience. I mean, some people don't care. They just they come and do a job, play their music. People drink and then they leave. But for me, I feel like there's such a missed opportunity, and the longer this format goes on, the more people are going to be, or the more people already are fed up with it. They're bored. They don't want to go out as much. I mean, ticket sales are down, and so many people want a more interactive experience. Like we had 5 live painters. I figured that was like the bare minimum of interactive experience. That's cool. I feel like that conversation is limitless. That conversation can be just as creative as the music itself.
Absolutely.
If we're having like LiDAR motion sensor detection so that the fans are participating with the visuals. Yeah. People are having pop-ups in coffee shops or laundromats, even the boiler room style format where the crowd's around the DJ like that. I mean, all of that is in the direction. And I feel like the people who could really explore this new industry of interactive events will be ahead of the curve, because it's going to be more and more as we get more digital and more removed. We're going to want more connection and more participation.
I agree. It's cool to see things develop. And so I didn't come to your show because I was in Mexico. I was in Tulum, and they have a ton of music and events and things going on down there, and actually met some people who instead of like I'm a DJ, they were like, I'm a light artist, and they were like helping create some of the lighting. And I think that's super cool because there's so much technology, and to be able to sync it up with the music and to be able to coordinate with an artist, and there's a ton of potential there. And obviously it's a big part of this show, like the lights, the visuals,
And I think the people that on the big stadium shows, those people are more they're obviously behind the scenes, but they've been more of a big part for a while now. And it's cool that now, like at the more smaller venues are even getting more hip to that, and people are spending more time to pursue that as a career. I think the visuals, like Android Jones, he just did a big a big visual show last month. And those are kind of the pioneers and more of our scene for the animated visual piece. But like Amon Tobin back in the day, he did some of the first 3D projected stuff that blew my mind. This is like, probably 15 years ago. But you can still pull out those YouTubes, and they combined 3D structures, like they had these 3D blocks, three-dimensional columns, and then the 3D projection allowed it to really to play with our perception.
Yeah.
And the level of it's like sober psychedelica.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they became all these different things. So it's interesting that I haven't really seen that many people. There's a cost to the production.
Right.
But it would be cool to see more of that. I've never even had the chance to see that in person.
Yeah. I'm having a memory pop up. You obviously know Random Rab. He's an artist. Mm-hmm. And I remember seeing him, I think it was at the Fox or somewhere like that. And he had clearly like developed his own stage setup, and he just had these like almost like old school, like early 1900s lights, and they would just go off and on at different times, and it was very simple but very beautiful.
Yeah, I saw that. He brought that to Nevada City, and I remember him talking about it. Yeah, I love that, to have a set piece. The Polish ambassador and artist I tour with quite a bit, he's always been we've been talking about this idea of having like couches on the stage and just like have people be able to like come up and chill and just have it be like a living room setup.
He's good at bringing people up on the stage to dance. I've danced up on stage with him. It's so much fun.
But the logistics with traveling, I mean, whatever Rab did, he figured out like, okay, what's a thing that I can have that I can pack in a suitcase and set up? But the logistics of traveling with set equipment like that, like setups, it's usually outside of the realm of, like what people want to expend on their project, so that's why we don't see it as much,
Yeah. Well, let's see. I mean, there's a lot of things I could ask you about. I'm curious if you want to just share any thoughts, kind of the difference between a DJ who's playing other people's music and a producer like yourself who's creating original music. Do you have any thoughts in that realm? I mean, it just seems like such a big distinction that maybe deserves to be recognized more.
Yeah.
Celebrated more. Like I really celebrate the producers, like people creating original music. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. Eventually if you want to explore and the things that excite you, you're eventually going to have to get dirtier and dirtier, get your fingers deeper and deeper into that topic. So if you're a DJ, you're most likely, you're like a producer in training in some ways. You're figuring out what you like. You're figuring out what moves the crowd, which is so cool to see. And then you're taking that and slowly forming that into your own flavor. It's like, oh, I like a little bit of this, but I want to see that like this. You're starting to apply and play with things. Because even when you're blending music, you can be blending different styles if you have diversity. And it's just a never ending rabbit hole, because you're like, oh, then how does this work? Oh, like how does music theory work? Like, oh, what's a key? Good DJs are already learning those fundamentals of mixing in key, which is a great foundation to go into production. I mean, when I was going into production, I wasn't even mixing in key at that point. I was just like by ear, like it sounded good or it didn't. And it wasn't till I started producing and realizing like, wow, I have no idea about music theory. My piano teacher cannot even explain it to me, because he's coming from the old school. Yeah. And they don't even know how to teach people how to make music really, and how like,
interesting.
So it's just part of the process. Like you could look at DJing and production being like a gradient of investment into the music,
right?
How much you want to actually be in control and to create something new. There are producers like Polish who I tour with who aren't really DJs. They've never played other people's music.
Oh, interesting.
And I
didn't know that actually.
Yeah. He's never been a DJ in that way. He started producing his own kind of glitchy video game music. I remember that. And just going off on whatever tangents he wanted to make. And that definitely differentiates us. I used to, when I first started touring, just play my own stuff, but more and more it's been fun to, have friends remix my stuff and play that, or have a couple tracks by someone up and coming that I feel like really people should hear. And lately, more producers are hitting me up. Like just this week, I got like 3 different DMs asking for unreleased stuff for people's sets. Oh, yeah. Like one of my friends is playing an Envision, and yesterday he's like, dude, you got unreleased stuff for my Envision set? And I was like, I haven't even had a chance to play this new stuff. So I'm kind of like, but.
Oh, that's interesting. Why would they want unreleased versus something that's released?
Well, yeah, just new stuff, basically.
Just new. Okay.
Yeah, just new stuff that I'm excited about. I mean, part of that could be that my newer stuff is a little bit more slapping, you know. So they may be looking for the secret.
Yeah, I've been seeing you bring in things
level.
like banjos and different things.
Yeah, but I mean, when you talk about producers and DJs, what I see as a pitfall for the whole industry is it's being in like one single genre is rewarded. Doing one single style over and over, till you're that guy.
Oh, that's a great point.
That's what's rewarded, and diversity isn't so much. Polish is one of the few examples I think of someone who's been able to do whatever they want, and people just go with it because he's got such a loyal fan base, and he built such a deep connection with them over the decades. But in general, the diversity that's inspired me, I'm even more inspired by doing out of the box stuff. Like last week I was just remixing 60s rock, and I'm not done. Like I'm so
cool.
60s rock is some of my most favorite music that ever came out, and I'm seeing if I can turn it into like, you know, beautiful bass music. And
what artists from back then are speaking to you?
Jefferson Airplane.
Okay.
White Rabbit went down. Sometimes it's a very specific part, like a bass line, something where it's like you don't even need to hear the vocals and you already know the song. And Come Together by the Beatles.
Oh man.
And,
I saw you did a video with that. That was great. I love that.
That'll be fun to release that one. But that bass line is just, I think Rolling Stones voted it like one of the best bass lines of all time. Or most iconic or something. So
the Beatles are so magical.
But I was just doing like an Afro house inspired breakbeat track that I just finished today, sent to distribution. Last week I did like an R&B bossa nova Brazilian track with this artist Demir. I sent that out last week to distribution. So it's kind of like, I
love that. Yeah. Well, you're making a good point about how staying in one kind of lane, so to speak, one genre gets rewarded. I see that in social media where there's a creator, or I guess they're, influencer, whatever you want to call them, and they kind of are creating the same kind of thing over and over again. And it's like, man, and like they've got their niche, they've got their thing, it works for them. But I've always been someone that likes to explore and have diversity and do different things. And I have a friend, Dr. Robert Love. He's been on this podcast before. He's gotten really successful on social media, sharing health advice. And I've seen him, like, he'll make these videos like, here are the top 3 supplements, for longevity. Here's the top 3 supplements for your brain health.
Yeah.
And he'll like recycle it, and it works for him. And then I'll see him put out something else because he loves art. He loves the travel. Like, I know him personally, so I know he has all these other interests. And those videos will get like 1/100th of the response.
Yeah.
So it's probably maybe the algorithm, or people like consistency. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, in the music industry, for sure, it's like people want to be able to, if they're booking you as a support artist, they want to know like your genre matches up with this person's genre. It's an easy fit. The people who buy a ticket will get what they expect to get.
Right.
And when you don't fall, when you're too, I say like, I'm too crunk for the Shanti kids and I'm too Shanti for the ratchet kids. You know what I mean? Like I'm stuck somewhere between, not being, going a little bit harder than the yoga music people who are some of my good friends, and then not being as aggressive as like, or as dark as some of the like ketamine based music that is pretty prevalent today. So
you said ketamine based music?
that's the true full name of most bass music today.
Oh, really?
Is it seems authentic to include the main substance that is related with that music in the title.
Oh, geez. I have mixed feelings about that.
Well, I feel like there's I remember I almost got kicked out of this one party I DJ'd. This is before I had much experience with psychedelics, because I didn't realize I got booked for like an LSD party. Okay. And I was playing like fun, stuff that I would play at like an ecstatic dance. It's like 15 years ago.
Oh, interesting.
And that was my first experience of being like, oh,
they wanted to.
I had never done LSD.
Oh, okay.
And I got that experience of like, okay, they want, and then I was listening what the other DJ was playing. And I'm like, oh, this is what, at least this crowd where I was living, this is what they want to hear when they're having this experience.
Yeah.
And I think you hear that with artists like Tipper.
Oh, yeah.
Who has a certain sound that is very psychedelic, and I would say like maybe more like LSD based, and the connections that artist makes with those people through those particular neural pathways that are created on those substances is a whole different thing. And now where we're at with like bass music per se, it's a young person's world. It's like probably 18 to 25 is the main demographic, which is a bit younger than a lot of my listeners. And they have their interests, and they have the certain way that they want to feel, and they have the things that, you know, they experiment with in that world.
Yeah, that's an interesting connection. Different substances, different psychedelics, go with different kinds of music, and it makes sense. There's something beautiful about expanding your horizons, you know, getting out of your comfort zone. But I also get what you're saying. Like, people are wanting a certain thing, maybe at certain times.
And there's an emotional component to what people are producing. Like, when you just produce a certain style of music, there's a certain comfort zone emotionally for that person. You know, like where I see in that scene, it's more about being like hot and cool. That's what I see kind of in the external, like festy bass scene. And you can kind of see that in social media, how that's like rewarded. And I think part of that, it's like, it's not cool to play like happy feel good music, you know, or like a nostalgic remix. You know what I mean?
I've noticed that in a lot of electronic music scenes. It's like every song is in a minor key, and sometimes I'll kind of track that. I'm like, man, there hasn't been a single like.
And that goes with that range of age. That's the mind state for a range of age as well in life.
Interesting.
You know, like I think there's a point in life in getting older where people just, they let go of some of that, and they just want to have a good time.
Yeah.
You know, they let go of some of that judgment. But there is a very a critical element, emotional element. But as a producer, and when I'm working and mentoring other producers, I try to support them to see if they can go somewhere new and push an edge. Yeah. You know, if they're making all this deep kind of emotional music, maybe make something a little happier, and then do something in between the two and have, you know, like just coming out of our comfort zone to be creative. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
I like that. I love ecstatic dance, and I love the journey that the music can take you on. And I really appreciate it when it goes all over the world, when it goes to different genres, when it goes to different places. And I don't love it as much. I mean, it can be good, but if it's more just bass music or just one genre the whole time, to me, that's like kind of misses part of the spirit of ecstatic dance for me, at least.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves, and one of the reasons I don't even go to dance as much anymore. And another reason that I want to be able to teach more, because there is a certain, what you could call formula of what I would say is the most consistent dance journey available for people. Because what I call mono-genre sets, single genre sets, if that's a genre that someone has, you know, they can work through their shit maybe, but if that's the one genre that someone or half the people aren't into, then the whole dance is in that emotional state. The whole dance is in that 4 to the floor, steady beat, hypnotic. Every movement is to that rhythm. There's no new opportunity for different kind of movement, a different kind of thought, a different kind of emotion when it's very mono genre.
Yeah, you know? That's interesting. It's bringing to mind, okay, so I think maybe the most extreme example of this that I've experienced has been the psytrance scene, where it'll be like a 12 or 14 hour long, like all night long warehouse. And it's like it doesn't leave that beat. Yeah. And there's something powerful and hypnotic about it, but there's also something kind of maddening after a while. It's like, geez.
Yeah. I have a meme of this woman saying no, and I never will. It's like from a talk show, and it just says, will I ever play a psytrance song in a set? No, and I never will. And
some people love it.
There was definitely some mad psytrance people on the comments, but
so what drugs would go with that scene?
I don't know. I'm a pretty sober guy, so I don't know, but I'm just getting educated by, you know, if your career is around playing parties, you know, you're around things, and I always feel kind of innocent. I'm like, oh, people are doing that. Okay, well, you know, I'm just like enjoying the music and having a bit more of a sober experience.
Yeah, it's almost like going through the jungle on a safari and seeing different creatures, like, and what their habits are. But so I didn't know that are you mostly sober? Do you want to share about that? Has that been your journey?
Yeah, I mean, I've always had a strong relationship with like psilocybin, and that's, in my opinion, that's always been the thing that leaves you better than you started.
Yeah.
As far as like on the, nervous system and
yeah.
And a couple years ago, I had an experience with ayahuasca where I went into what a doctor later would call serotonin toxicity.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In an ayahuasca ceremony?
My system was shutting down. I've broken my neck. I've done a lot of things with skateboarding and snowboarding that have been painful in my history. This was one of the most painful experiences of my life.
Wow.
My whole spine was just on fire. I couldn't move. I couldn't form words. I couldn't walk.
Oh no.
I was just like shaking. And it wasn't like a particularly interesting psychedelic experience mentally.
Well,
like you could feel the medicine in that way, but it was like the body was having a very physical reaction. And I'm sure like shamans could have a different viewpoint of like, oh, this or that. But since that experience, and other like very more subtle ones, I've seen that my body doesn't have a lot of juice in the caboose.
And you're connecting that with some injuries you've had, maybe?
Just, going through fibromyalgia or different things that I've dealt with health-wise. So I think there's some constitutions that got a little more juice that they can, spend, credits in the dopamine accounts or serotonin accounts or whatever, and some of us are just much better off just being super health-minded and micro with things,
People vary in their levels of sensitivity, which is something that I've seen firsthand in my work with psychedelic therapy, where, speaking of psilocybin, it's been legalized now in Colorado, which is amazing for therapy. And I get to work with people sometimes with that, and it's awesome. And I've seen people, some people are extraordinarily sensitive, and a little bit like it goes, is all they need. And then some people are the opposite. And my working hypothesis is if someone has a lot of trauma that's unresolved, they can tend to that more like less sensitive. And like, so taking what for me would be like a huge amount, for them is like a smallish medium amount in terms of the subjective experience that it has. And of course, if you've taken things like SSRIs for years, even if you stop and kind of get that out of your system, I think it still reduces your sensitivity. So there's a lot of factors and variables. And
that fungus in particular is interesting in that I'm curious how they regulate potency, because the different strains and everything
are
that's a good so question. Diverse. I'm just like,
that's a good point too.
You could eat this whole, when I was a kid, I ate this like huge bag of mushrooms and had, maybe it was a lot of stems or whatever, and was fine. And then later in life had this one small golden cap and was like totally different experience. So it's interesting how quantity isn't so, qualitative.
It's a natural substance. And even if you grew the same strain, like different batches could have different levels of how potent they are.
So is there a certain strain that particular therapists work with?
I mean, that's a great question. I think people are experimenting, exploring, and developing different strains. I mean, technically, like, I'm not allowed to, recommend or prescribe or provide. So I don't want to go into the details, but it's worth, of course, you 100% want to have a good source and trust it, or grow it yourself. But unfortunately, there's a lot of trial and error happening. You could read things online. Different people will make different recommendations. There are particular strains that will have more visual effects and psychedelic effects, and then some strains that will be more body based. And so there are differences there.
I think it would be interesting to be able to be in a ceremony like that in the future still, but ayahuasca is pretty much off the table for me.
Oh, well. If we go back to that, did the doctors, or did you discover anything of why that happened for you or could happen to other people?
It was, we were sitting 2 nights in a row.
Okay.
and I definitely had a much larger cup. I was very open to whatever I needed to learn that evening. And there's a certain potency that builds up in the system multiple nights. I found out later that that you can have like, there are natural substances you can take when you're having a very adverse to mitigate the substance, and was not administered. And I was very aware. Also, some other things happened that I won't share out of privacy that were really disturbing. That
for you personally?
No, I was in a different space altogether. But meanwhile, some other crazy shit was happening. And
that's interesting.
Yeah, and I was just like, wow, this little. And I've heard stories about other ceremonies gone wrong. You know, people getting violent, like and I'm just like, wow, they're all self-monitored, but there's not always qualified people to know, like, does this person are they in anaphylactic shock? Because for a minute when they were asking me, I'm like, that's all I could think of. I mean, my brain was hardly functioning. And I was like, it was like I was having, it going in anaphylactic shock, but obviously that's not. So someone went to get an EpiPen.
Oh, geez.
And it took hours for that to happen. And then my friend who God bless her soul, she was like, okay, this is going to be some Pulp Fiction shit, right? Like this is going to be injected into you and you're going to be flooded with adrenaline.
Jeez.
Is that what you really need right now? Yeah. And I'm like, I have fucking no clue.
You're not in a place to be able to answer that.
I'm like shaking. Half my face is numb.
Wow.
And they're asking me this, and we came to the decision, no, that's not what I needed. And I'm grateful for that. But it was just interesting for the lack of like medical preparedness or even scientific preparedness. Like, that this has nothing to do with anaphylactic shock and you don't need adrenaline,
Yeah, that's interesting. I think it's a good story to share. I'm a big fan of openness, transparency, putting more information out there so people can make informed choices. And it's good to know that, because ayahuasca is becoming more and more popular, it's good to know that there are risks like with anything. And it's good to really research the people holding the space and how they're going about it.
And no one I've talked to has ever heard of this type of
I've never
situation.
Heard of that, actually. Yeah.
So, I mean, overall, the benefit is amazing. All the times I'd sat, the 4 or 5 previous times I'd sat, everything had been quite benefic. I never even, I would never even felt the need to purge. I was just like in bliss, meditating with Kali Ma, like, which is my favorite place to be, So whatever the message was for me personally, that's, very personal. And, that was the message, was like, this isn't my path, even though I have many songs that people know my music through were medicine songs or are medicine songs, like Avasitos, which has like over 1 million plays, Kunak remix, which is also close to 1 million, Pica Florcita, who El Bujo did a remix of. El Bujo is one of my favorite down-tempo artists. He did a remix of Pica Florcita. So I've had these connections in that world for many years, but it's not my particular path. The path I got thrown out of school. That school, at least.
Good to listen to that.
Yeah.
But you had some good experiences before that, so interesting.
Definitely.
Interestingly, El Bujo, Spotify does that thing at the end of the year where they're like, here's your artist, and El Bujo is my #1 played artist.
Nice.
And I think what happened was I kept putting on El Bujo radio, like in the background when I'm like working or doing stuff for my house. And it so that happened.
Dude, he's the best. And he's the nicest dude. He's like, he's from the UK. When I met him, he was living in Paris. But just such a humble, rad dude. He was working at Greenpeace.
Oh, wow.
He's an activist. He was working at Greenpeace for like 8 years or a long time into his DJ career before he finally like switched to just like, like, I was like, you still have a full-time job with Greenpeace, So he's amazing on many levels, but his music is so gorgeous to vibe to. Yeah.
Well, we don't hear much about Greenpeace these days. I wonder how they're doing.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Sure. Well, so I was looking at your video you made before your show at the Fox Theater where you shared some of your story.
Yeah.
Like growing up and getting into skateboarding and And then you said, it sounds like you had like health problems. Is that part of, do you want to
Yeah,
share
yeah.
about
Yeah, I worked around when I was around 20. I had fractured my neck snowboarding.
that? Jeez.
I had been, and then was in another injury snowboarding the next year. And I was vegan around that time. And it, the confluence of events conspired to create this framework that they term fibromyalgia. So I was just in a lot of pain and a lot of fatigue for many years.
Is that an autoimmune disorder?
I don't know where they ended up. At first, it was a junk diagnosis, just where they don't understand something. This was back in 2000.
Okay.
So this is 26 years ago.
Jeez.
And now it's like, it's a whole different world. It's respected or known in its different forms. And back then it was just, but the one thing that I saw that helped, I was already meditating and doing yoga, and I saw that everything from Ayurveda helped. Oh, yeah. Everything from the high vata category of Ayurveda, everything that balanced the air and ether elements, all the grounding things gave me a little less pain and made me like my nervous system chill the fuck out, because it was just like in this high state. And so I quit my job. I was working at DC Shoes at the time as a graphic designer, and I went to study Ayurvedic medicine full time for 2 years. And with Dr. Vasant Lad, he's the guy who brought Ayurveda to the West, basically. Wow. And homies with Deepak and all those Ayurvedic G's. Yeah, and it changed my life, and gradually, but it was about a 6-7 year process.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. I mean, in terms of Ayurveda helping you, so Vata, you're the wind type, which I could guess based on your physiology. I am a lot of that too.
Yeah.
And then I'm guessing things like warm, grounding food, like low inflammation diet, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, heavier, more grounding things, like no raw vegetables, no salads, no bitter or astringent, like even the taste. Like sweet, sour, salty are the good tastes out of the 6 main tastes. Every aspect of your life can be looked at as having a quality, and you can lean into those qualities for that aspect that are more beneficial. Smell, taste, sound, sights. Yeah, it's very comprehensive.
I've gotten a lot of benefit out of prioritizing like warm cooked meals rather than things like raw vegetables and salad. Like that definitely works better for me too.
Yeah, and then time of year, time of day, time of life, all those get factored in. So in the summer, pitta types can tend to be really good with digesting raw. Vata types might have a little bit more raw in the summer when they're more supported.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that was been part of my journey through the years, like traditional Chinese medicine, Tibetan medicine, and Ayurveda. I've never done like a real deep dive into one of them, but it's definitely helped me. And a lot of people I've talked to and seen, like, that for me, like having warm tea, like hot tea, herbal tea is not avoiding like ice water and sodas and all that stuff. I mean, obviously we now know how terrible soda is, but when I was a kid, everyone was just drinking soda all the time. Like that was the normal. Like,
I've been wanting to do an Ayurveda for children book for years, especially as my design background but it's like common sense. It's so basic. It's like cold plus cold equals super cold, like cold plus warm equals balance. It's just like re-educating humans on a simple framework to see reality. Yeah. Balancing qualities, warm, cold, light, heavy, dry, unctuous, it's, and once you have those in your system, they're habit. You don't think about it anymore. Right. And even when you're interacting with people, you can kind of navigate certain situations based on people's balances or imbalances.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to think about how, humans evolving over thousands and thousands of years, most of that time we didn't have ice. We weren't drinking freezing cold liquid all the time. I enjoy a cold drink now and again too, but as like a daily habitual thing, like drinking all this ice water. I saw this, I think it was a Tibetan medical doctor from Tibet, and he was like, the reason there's so much obesity in this country, talking about America, is you're drinking ice water all the time. And like that was he had this whole thing about that. And I was like, that's interesting. It's
interesting also to think about processed food, because for all of human existence,
right, obviously there's a lot more there. Yeah,
all of human existence, we definitely had ice over in our existence as humans, but having all these compounds put together and ultra processed in this way where our body's like, does it recognize this? Does it know how to even fuck with this? Because
does it interpret it as food?
Yeah, because I mean, whole
Yeah.
foods were the foundation of how humans developed for all of our existence until this little blip in time where we're like, let's just process the heck out of this very specialized plant and then combine it with all these other super processed things that would never go in your body individually or in combination, and let's let your liver and your gallbladder and all this stuff try to figure out like what the fuck to do with it.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, so now where I'm at with health is addressing more GI system stuff, and that's where I came to a limitation with Ayurveda. A lot's developed in that realm of health in the last 20 years since I went to school. So there's probably some amazing specialists. I mean, the beauty of Ayurveda is they integrate all systems. If it's like a true Ayurvedic philosophy, you're using acupuncture. If it's good for that thing, you're using this system. That's the higher level of what Ayurveda can be. If you're not stuck in dogmatic cultural ideas, you know, like everyone should have ghee, or everyone khichdi is great for everyone. Like those are just generalizations that aren't actually true to the core system of what Ayurveda says.
That's right. Yeah.
And so GI health is part of that now, where it's like, okay, I still have those habits, but I'm working with specialists to do testing and, you know, like fecal testing to see like what's the gut biome like and what needs to be, you know, oh, there's H. pylori on your stomach here, and then here are the herbs. And I've had the most success most recently with that, where I'm so grateful that there's, you know, health coaches out there doing testing like that. So you're not just guessing.
Yeah.
You know,
it's really great to see it all evolving and new information coming in and new science and new things being developed with that ancient wisdom. I love that. I think that's what we need. Yeah. Interestingly, I just saw today, because it was on Instagram, like a little, you know, video popped up, and it's this guy is about to eat this cupcake, and then Mike Tyson jumps in and swats it out of his hand, and he's like, "Processed food kills," and he's like standing next to an American flag. And I didn't have time to research it, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure Mike Tyson's like working, like that video is like made by the new Make America Healthy Again.
Oh, FDA, the new
thing.
FDA
Yeah. So I'm like, well, this is the one thing maybe that I like about the Trump administration is the Make America Healthy Again thing.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just, you know, one person that he got on board for that who's very controversial and says all sorts of shit that I wish they wouldn't say, because they kind of diminish some of the good stuff that's being said. But 100%. Like it's just common sense, whole foods, eating whole foods, and, you know, also like the emotional component of people being able to get off of, have some freedom from devices.
Oh my gosh.
All the, you know, imbalances. It's just coming back to some simpler tools can help people so much with their health and their creativity, and having tons of energy to do all the cool shit they want to do in this life, you know,
live a full life,
to fulfill your potential as a human being.
Yeah.
You know, like that's my goal.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I'm definitely not saying that I agree with or like everything the Make America Healthy movement, whatever that is doing, but I'm really grateful that our government finally is saying processed food is not good for you. And it's like there's finally been this break from the big food agriculture business where the government's no longer promoting this crap, at least to some degree. And it's just more and more people are just have access to information, where when I was a kid, like we didn't, you know, and we were getting that food pyramid and we were getting the eat your Cheerios with cold milk, like that was supposed to be healthy. I'm like, man, it's not good.
Yeah, we just had a bowl of white sugar in the middle of the table because we couldn't afford the better tasting sugary cereal. So we had like the bland cereal with just like, I mean, we'll see. When you say the government, I mean, there's a few people in the government saying this and then getting ridiculed by, you know, the left-wing media or the right-wing media or whatever it is, all the bullshit of polarity. I really do hope that common sense and basic wisdom can permeate our government, because it's very,
that would be amazing.
It's very, they're very little. They're just too lost in their own maze of, you know, thought systems where, if that would be the best thing that could come, if there was one thing that just continued for the decades to come for America, would just be healthier eating, simpler eating, and have that be supported.
It's something worth advocating for and fighting for. And It's I think every generation, we always look back at the past and we're like, we judge the shit out of them. So we look back at the 1950s and we're like, you guys were smoking on airplanes, like you're insane. And I think, our kids or our grandkids will look back at us and be like, you were eating what? You were genetically modifying this in what way? Like you were dumping Roundup on these crops and then eating them. Like you guys are insane. Like, so we're, it's interesting. It's an interesting thought experiment to try to look at what's happening in our world now that the future generation will be like, that was insane.
Yeah.
And I think some of that big agriculture stuff has just been a disaster. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hope they can look back and feel like they're in a better,
I hope so.
more educated place. Cause I don't really know if that'll happen or not, but,
I know
yeah.
it's kind of sad and we don't have to go too far down this road,
Yeah.
but it feels to me like the first time since maybe World War II, certainly the first time in my lifetime where there's more and more prevailing sense that the future is looking worse than the past in a lot of ways. And that's tough. We're in tough times. We're in dark times.
One thing that kind of undoes that for me is when I meet these parents that are having these connections with their kids and conversations with their kids that are just mind-blowingly mature and respectful.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, wow, has this ever happened before? Did parents and children have this level of camaraderie and understanding and respect?
That's great to hear.
In the 70s or in the 60s or in the 50s. I mean, like, and that gives me faith that there's some next level parenting happening. There's some next level adults being created.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of good things happening if you look for them and you pay attention to that. It helps. It's good to balance out because so much of the news is so negative. But then, like you're sharing, like in your actual personal life, you can meet amazing people doing amazing things. And
you can go on YouTube and find out not only how to do something, but someone's cracked it open in such an incredible way that it gives you insight into like the whole macro view, and then a whole new way, like learning piano or, or therapy or like sex and relationship coaching. Like people are finding these angles that have not been found before. So people can learn and reach a new level of their potential that maybe wasn't available in the past.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would say that YouTube is the greatest educational resource of all time. I mean, if my car is making a funny sound, I can find a video. I can find 100 videos on YouTube that are like the specific model, and I mean, it's just incredible, the videos on there.
How to change your air filter.
Yeah.
Like, wow, I had no idea how easy that was, and I'm like, I will never pay someone to do this. I can't believe as a man I was not. So there's a lot of cool empowering things you can discover now.
Well, cool. Well, in terms of you're about to go on a music tour, right? Do you want to share about that?
Yeah, the word tour is just like a smoke and mirror show to make people think you're successful.
Okay. All right, you're letting us see behind the mask.
Yeah. In reality, there's just some random outreach that's come together, and everything's just kind of like a few one-off events here or there where I'm super excited to be able to share, especially all the new stuff. But the word tour gives the idea that it's like, a bit more put together than it usually is. Like, oh, you're going to do all these cities this week. But yeah, I have some good trips coming up, and the music industry in general has been a bit slower.
Like this year compared to last, or
in the year before and the year before. I mean, ever since lockdown time, ticket sales are down, booking are down, some festivals aren't happening. Some festivals are having very low ticket sales. So more so than touring this year, I'm moving into mentorship and education and working with people one-on-one for this holistic, genre merging production.
So teaching people how to produce music,
how to have a toolkit for when they get stuck creatively, how to look at doing a remix and be able to really put their spin on it, how to basically merge disparate elements to create something new, how to look at creativity in a way that empowers them to make things that have never been made before.
I love that. That's beautiful. Yeah, it's interesting talking with you. There's all these different scenes and genres, and I guess you used to be more in like the skate, maybe punk scene and all that stuff, and East Coast versus West Coast. And I've always loved like just like we can appreciate all that, and then getting to a place where like we're all humans, and that we can transcend these divisions. And for me, like my personal best experiences at festivals have had moments like that, where it's like, wow, there's a bunch of people coming together having a human experience, and it's not about I'm a skater and you're a, I don't know, scientist geek or whatever. All these labels that we grow up with, it's like places where we can get beyond those labels. I love that.
Yeah, there's something exciting about creatively bridging gaps to create something new, but also socially. And also, like you're saying, like genre wise, like bringing in bluegrass into like hard hitting breakbeats, bass music, or there's more connection. And I think that's what it all comes back to. It's like the people that connect through the sound that you make, the people that connect at a show or in a genre that you're really interested in. It's all about more connection. I think that's what people crave. And I think that's the biggest medicine we have right now with devices and everything. In like in a kind of an elusive way, illusionary way, seeming more connected, but we're actually less connected from each other physically, or in our bodies,
in our hearts,
or emotionally, so that we can be aggressive in ways that we probably would never be like that, or say something mean in that way in person. And so I think that's the feeling in festivals too, where you're like coming together, there's more connection, it builds over several days. The music has all these levels of connection and integration, and you're on this journey with the music, with the producer, with the dancers, getting to feel that holistic nature.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think, and I'm thinking like there's been so many amazing songs, especially from the past. So I think you're doing something really cool, like going back, finding some of these older songs and then bringing the big bass, the big beats, because those kinds of sounds didn't exist back then. But this actual song structure, the melody, some of the lyrics are like incredible, right? So why not bring them into today's day and age and kind of remix them like that? I think that's great.
Yeah. And I think there's a service to education too with the crowd, like there's always a part of the role of the DJ is to give people what they want, but also give them something that they may not know that they want.
There you go. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I think with even things from the 90s, like 90s hip hop, which was my thing when I was growing up, that's considered like old school now, right? Because that's 30 years old. So it's like you're doing a form of like educating, sharing things with the younger generation in a package that's really digestible for them. To be like, oh, I'd never heard White Rabbit before. Like, oh, and what she's talking about is like Alice in Wonderland, and I had this experience on this trip, and and maybe they hadn't even been exposed to that because they're maybe in their 20s or something. So
they may never have heard that.
Exactly. And when they do, maybe it'll be their favorite song.
Maybe, that's an epic song. I love that song.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, it's been great to have you on the podcast. Thanks for joining. Oh, we were gonna let's listen to one of your music videos and then talk about it.
Which one did we want?
Well, I really love the song you did with Alex Serra.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be a good one.
That's one of my most popular tracks.
And do you know him personally much?
Yeah. So I met Alex at a small festival in Spain.
Okay.
This was right before lockdown, like 2019. It was the weekend his first album even came out.
Oh, wow.
So he had like 0 listeners on Spotify.
Wow.
And if anyone doesn't know, Alex Serra is an incredible vocalist, songwriter from Barcelona, Spain.
Yeah.
And I heard his music. We had mutual friends there at the gathering, and I heard his music, and I was like, I gotta connect with this guy. So we had lunch the next day and planted the seeds.
Oh, amazing.
And I remember when I shared it with Mose. Mose had already, who's also a music producer, become a fan. And Mose, I didn't even have to ask him to do a remix. So right away he was like, I would remix this. So
yeah, Mose is a great artist.
He became a favorite songwriter for so many people. He's just grown incredibly, and it's like his music's yeah, it's just great to see people making such beautiful music be so successful.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, Alex Serra is an incredible musician. If you haven't heard him before, you should definitely check him out. And I first heard him at Envision Festival a few years ago. And it was such a cool moment because I didn't know who he was and I hadn't really heard his songs. So it was like one of those moments where I was like, I think it was just walking by. I was on my own and I just stopped. I was like, wait a minute, I need to listen to this. And it just blew me away. And I was like, note to self, like, look up this artist. First, I had to find out what his name was, because he's like up there on the stage.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to look him up later. And he told this little story where he was like, said he was working in like a cubicle, like dreaming about being a musician, and quit his job and just started doing it. And it's like, this is such an amazing story because now he's on this big stage with all these people. And yeah.
Yeah. He one of his only shows in the United States actually was with me in Nevada City a couple of years ago. And he's just such a free spirit. He's not trying to be cool, not trying to get the big gigs with like the other big, huge pop stars. He's just going with the flow. He's like very authentic and sincere in a way that's kind of rare.
That is rare
and humble.
It's different than the hustle culture. Try so hard.
He's 100% in the love and about the love and doing things for the love. He's like good vibes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this video was pre-AI. I actually animated it all in After Effects and illustrated it all in Illustrator. And yeah.
Óyela como llega. Óyela como llega. Ella me da la vida y canta. Tú sabes lo que me pasa.
Such a beautiful video.
Ábrete, llega la calma. Esa es la vibra
Anything you want to share about how you created the video?
Well, it took about 3 years to learn After Effects
Wow.
program to a degree where I could animate all those transitions and effects and everything like that. Now I will probably never have to use it again because of the state of technology.
Oh, really?
But I started with storyboarding, and I think storyboarding with music, with art direction, it's just like the foundation, you know, just certain pleasing, harmonious geometry and color combinations that I envisioned. I actually just took a screenshot of Alex from one of his other videos and just cut him out and just use him as a placement, like Alex profile, Alex in front, and I put him in all these different scenes basically. But a lot of it revolved around geometry and color. I'm so sensitive to combinations of colors that I find exciting. And so most of the music video is that, you know,
it's like this kind of pastel. Is that a good word for it? Like
yeah, or like
like
complementaries and but also negative space. My background with like Swiss graphic design and Bauhaus movement and like some of the styles that came out in like the 50s and 60s, Joseph Mueller Brockman. Some pretty nerdy design for some pretty nerdy design career went into, but I'm proud of that work because it's the one piece that integrated, you know, my 15 years of working in the skate and snowboard industry as a designer, and then my 10 years or 15 years of producing music. And then just two came together for this, where it was like the most polished song I've ever produced with one of my most favorite artists that I've ever worked with. And then an intensive like 6 or 7 months of animating whenever I had time.
A lot of work went into it.
Yeah, there's probably like every 15 seconds is probably 6 to 8 hours.
Wow, I did not know that.
So, but it's in the distant past, you know, like AI has changed quite a bit.
So if you're gonna do something like that today, you'd be using all this AI stuff to help create it.
Yeah, most likely. One of the takeaways I had from that is like, okay, next time, I'm glad I created this. This was kind of just like almost for myself. But I would probably spend that 6 or 7 months just making a new album. But yeah, sometimes we got to do things just for the art and just for our heart, you know, and
I think it's beautiful.
And just to have the ambition to create something interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. The world has gotten faster and faster, and more things are being created more and more quickly. So to spend 6 months on one video for the one song, you know, it feels like almost like a different era, even though we just made it a few years ago. Yeah,
they got like 100 views. Doesn't fit the easy appetite algorithm, you know.
The song itself got a lot of plays, but the video maybe not as many.
Yeah, well, on their channels, like on Moses' channel, it's like, or on Alex's channel, but on my individual channels, the visual didn't really get to, you know, have wings because it doesn't really adhere to the current state of content. So yeah, there's like, we're seeing a generation kind of go by and a new generation is here, you know, of what people want to see and hear in art.
Yeah, in a new world. I'm curious, it's going to be interesting to see how things change when there's so much being created so quickly. Like it feels like a flood. Yeah. Right? Like I created an image the other day with ChatGPT, and it's like this beautiful visionary kind of psychedelic image of a man gazing into a woman's eyes. You know, all I did was spend a few minutes typing in different prompts. Yeah. And I don't know. It's just, that's the world we're in. But you know, a few years ago, that would have taken an artist like, I don't know how many weeks or months to create. I think in that, or in something like this, the way to do it nowadays would be to get stock, get cardstock paper, colored paper, and scissors, and do it all by hand, and do like stop image, motion image, and document that. That would be the modern way. If you're going to do something old school, document the process. Yeah, go all the way back. And that's the stuff that's super entertaining. I watch people's painting processes all the time.
and it just makes me want to get back into physical visual art.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of the same is true now. We're just always pivoting. It's like, okay, if it's that easy, then I'm going to go way farther back. I'm going to start like scratching with like a tape to reel, like, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever it is. Cause as an artist, you have to stay continually creative. You know, if things change, don't bitch about it. Just use it as another creative prompt, you know?
Yeah.
You know, content's like that. It's a creative challenge for artists, even if they don't want to do it. It's like, well, this is your challenge. Find a way that's fun and dope and new and you.
Yeah.
And
honor the process, you know? So I think for me, it's creativity has been often more about the process than the result. And what you just spoke to speaks to that, where it's like, maybe AI could make a final result that, you know, looks incredible or whatever, but the human process of being engaged and creating it yourself is obviously totally different for the person doing it.
Yeah.
And there's something that we resonate with. People, like you're saying, if you made a video showing that process, or if you see a live painter, like at one of your shows, you see that process and you respect it, and it speaks to something in us.
And it's all about connecting with artists. And I think with AI music taking off, that's going to be the differentiator. It's like the people who already are connected, and they have a personal connection with their fan base and with the people who listen to their music. Those are the people who are going to be able to keep moving forward and not get whitewashed by the static of AI, you know, music being created. Not only that, they need to double down and start sending all their fans postcards and like, you know what I mean? Like having even more personal connection, because it's that much more crucial these days to be truly connected to everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Well, that's great. Yeah. I'll link your stuff below, you know, people can check it out. It's been great to have you on.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you.